Hey everyone, good evening and welcome to another OSR Tabletop live stream with myself, DM Bloodworth, and as you can see, Richard DM Bloodworth on there. I apologize for the very different presentation. I literally sent out my computer for a repair on Monday, and as quickly as it got to Houston, Texas, and back again today, just didn't have time to unpack it. Of course, it took me almost 2 hours to get home from work today instead of the typical, hour and 20 minutes. So I was like, all right, so that's a fiasco. And it takes 100 years for my laptop to start. So I am working on it and trying to get in there. We will see if I can get the StreamYard running over here. You'll actually see two of me, and then I'll drop the one that is on the iPad. So what I was going to talk about during this live stream is not just, I know the title says the OSR Tabletop Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next best thing with a question mark. And I honestly believe that it certainly could be. And, so that's what I wanted to talk about. But I also wanted to talk about some other games that we're all anticipating for the latter part of 2023, which is only about 4 more months left. And then in particular, for 2024, what are some of the top most anticipated games that we're looking to see, whether they're coming off of Kickstarter, and I've seen a ton of really interesting things coming through Kickstarter, or or just other projects that have been worked on and have already run their course through Kickstarter, and we're now just waiting for implementation. So I am going to see, my laptop is very slow, and so it's going to take it quite some time to jump in. So I'm going to pretty much stay on this. Oh, there we go. And let's see. It's almost easier to do this, isn't it? All right, let's go back to upcoming. Or is it past? Sorry about this. Yeah, I don't know which it's going to be. Hey, Takato, how's it going? I'm getting all jammed up with my technology here. So I am on my iPad doing this because I can't bring myself to being late at anything. I should have made this start at 8:15, and then I would have been a little bit more comfortable with it. My laptop is just dreadfully slow. Jesus. So I'm just going to stick with this and go with that. So I am going to just close that and shift this. So sorry about the flipping around and everything. So there we go. So as I was mentioning, there are several games that are coming out in 2024. One of which is the remastered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so I broke out my original here, and this is like the original. This is the black lettered title. This is third printing, so it was 1986 third printing, and I have to be honest. I think that considering that the remastery of this, and I did a separate video on this recently, the remastering of this includes full color includes full color artwork, interior artwork, a new cover art, a some tweaking, not so much tweaking of the rules, but just rules clarifications in there. They say that they had scanned it and then scanned the original rules and then modified the print so that it's going to be much more. I forget that when they digitized it at um, a much higher dot count. I forget the term to use for it. So it's going to be much more legible than just looking at the old print and such. So and then they're adding some new content to it. So this is very much a remastered, even without going in there and modifying all the rules and such. So, really looking forward to that. Yeah, much higher quality. So yes, much higher quality. It's going to have, they got the original artists, which is unbelievable, plus others that are going to come in and do some, full color art and such. So it's really, really exciting. Uh, there is, I'm not picking up what FMB is, FMD, I mean, so spell it out. Um, there will be, there'll be consolidating some of the books together as well. So it's not going to be the rule book, just what you see here, but the other supplements that were out at the time are also going to be added in. Yes, Laird is going to be there. Laird is Laird is also involved with the project. Um, oh, I see. All right, I was like, I wasn't connecting that. You were saying hello to Full Metal Dragon, and yes, welcome everyone that's coming in. So when I first started thinking about this and I started looking at some of the numbers behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it really got me thinking that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a property, and this is without without the tabletop being released. All right, made several $billion in 2023 alone. It is one of the top selling franchises, one of the top selling IPs that covers all of the bases, right? They have multi-billion-dollar grossing movies. I mean, all of them combined, over $1 billion in movies, guaranteed over several $1 billion in toys. Then you have video games, you have the tabletop role-playing game that's going to be released, you have cartoons, you have the full spectrum of both old fans and new fans. I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has an appeal to a younger audience than, let's say, Dungeons and Dragons. So it can certainly be put out there and as something to bring younger kids in, 8, 9, 10 years old into it, and even into the tabletop role-playing game aspect of it as well. And so it is a much more of a um, multi-generational product than other role-playing games. Let's put it that way. So, and yet it's not so childish that it's like, I mean, it's still PG, but it's a fairly soft PG, depending on how they're looking to run it. Yes, I saw Dungeon and Discourse's Hasbro stock being the lowest. I also saw it on 10 Cars, and it's they made much of their they made much of their money, to be honest with it. They made most of their money from Baldur's Gate 3. That's what really generated, um, something like $40 million was generated just from that movie alone, and so that's where they saw their increase. But they made less money from they made less money from Dungeons and Dragons than separately from just the Baldur's Gate 3. And their Magic the Gathering, they made most of their money from the Lord of the Rings set on Magic the Gathering. So if it wasn't for those two things going on in 2023, they would have, most likely not done very well at all in comparison. But one of the things that Dungeons and Discourse brought up was that this does not bode well, because for the future of tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, because and that means tabletop from the book perspective, because if they made a lion's share of their increase in revenue from a video game, that is just going to encourage them to go even further towards pushing for video game at the expense of spending their time with anything else. And I consider their VTT to be a video game, not your typical virtual tabletop like a Roll20 or a Fantasy Grounds. It is very much a different, or Foundry. It's a very much different approach that they're taking with it, with its microtransactions, and it's they're looking to make it a paid service primarily. That's what they're really banking on. Let's see, Ghostbusters. Sony can make with 5e SRD. No need for a game company. I guess so. Well, yeah, if you're using the SRD now, you can make virtually anything you want using that SRD. That SRD, I know in Dungeons and Discourse, he was basically mentioning, I think it's a he. He was basically saying that anyone can make these things now using it's only a 5e SRD. So it still doesn't open the door for making things that are tied to either first edition, second edition, or third edition. So there's that. I mean, no one's looking to make anything emulating off of fourth edition. But anyhow, yeah, Patton Oswalt, I wouldn't even. It makes no difference to me. That guy is a total schmuck, so I don't care what he's involved with. So anyway, getting back to the premise of this is that so I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles really does have an opportunity next year to be, a really, really big thing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can be a big thing because just imagine with the remastering of the tabletop role-playing game, you're going to start seeing this. You're going to start seeing this being played at conventions. You're going to see more, potentially more kids at these conventions looking to play a game like this. And Palladium is not they're not a tiny company. They're one with a long history. They're they do have Rifts, which is also a very popular game for them as well. but I think that this one could actually become their premier game at this point. I think that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can really be a big thing. Now, whether it's the next best thing, the next big thing, I don't know. Do I think it's going to replace Dungeons and Dragons? No. The only thing that can dethrone Dungeons and Dragons is WotC and Hasbro's actions. Are the only two, the only two ways that Dungeons and Dragons can be dethroned. But I think over time, it could start to wane, and you'll start to see um, less representation of it at conventions. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago where I actually talked about that, and I went through and I was showing like these are some of the conventions that I'm going to. These were a few conventions that I recently already attended, and I see the decline of representation for 5e, especially at like the Philadelphia Game Con that I'm going to in January. It was only 30 sessions out of 240 that were 5e. Everything else, there were actually more sessions of old school D&D than there was of 5e. And then it was even further pushed beneath those when I added in Castles and Crusades and Pathfinder on top of that. So it pushed it even below that point. So I think that it could definitely be unseated at conventions, and I'm starting to see that trend already. And for me, that's something that I've been pushing a lot now, is get these other games, not just in people's hands, in their homes, but let's get these games being shown and played and whatnot at these conventions. Now, I left a comment because I backed it on their Kickstarter, and I was like, this is what I'd like to see. I'd like to see this game being run at conventions. And a person came in and responded to that by saying, they have a staff of like maybe 6 people. It's just not able to do that kind of a thing. And I think that's the wrong way to approach this. The best way to approach this is that, yeah, we're going to go to a convention and we're going to run the game. And if that means coming out with the PDFs for, because I know right now they're not planning on PDFs, which I also think is a mistake. But they should really look to get out there with a PDF of this so that people can actually start playing it. Because we're all not going to, run to a convention with our original books, and it doesn't do them anything if we're bringing our own PDFs that we have found on the internet and such. So I think that it's more important for them to get out there and to actually showcase the game at some of these big conventions and say, yeah, we're bringing it back. We're gonna fully back this thing, and going forward there's going to be new content and such, and make it a big thing for 2024. Let's see, let's look at some of the comments here. Well, the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles didn't do all that terrible. I think that with the game coming out, and I forgot to look at it, it was certainly over 100 million that it made. I think that what they need to do is continue working, continue getting the name out for the tabletop role-playing game. That is going to drive that is going to drive their toy sales. They are making, along with this, some miniatures. I don't know how big the miniatures sales is going to be for for Ninja Turtles, but I think that they should focus on every aspect that they can get the game out there with. So I don't see 6E being the 800-pound gorilla in the industry for the end of 2000. No, no, I don't think so either. As a matter of fact, I don't think they're even going to launch it in 2024. I said this a couple of weeks ago, and I know some others have chimed in saying that it's not as far along as they were really hoping to, and I'm talking about the VTT. It's not as far as long as they were hoping, and it's probably not going to launch until 2025. They'll rush something out and say that this is what we're putting out there, but it's not a fully developed product with like the purpose. They didn't put the purpose behind it of being like, it's almost like they hadn't planned very well on releasing something that is truly sought after and innovative. And for the 50th anniversary, it makes like really no sense what they're actually putting out there, and why they weren't better prepared. That's what really strikes me, is that they kind of did so many missteps along the way that it just put them off, and they're just not ready for 2024. I know Dungeons and Discord was saying, like, this might not come out until, like, if they're lucky, like September of 2024. I mean, it's really, really pushing them back, into the last quarter of 2024, rather than, around the mid or second quarter, the third or second quarter of 2024. Do many of those games have Kickstarters see continued convention play? But can it stick around? I think that it can. I think that as long as they follow it up with some additional expansions and stuff, I think that it can. Speaking of like convention play, or just representation out there, I know that quite a few channels have spoken about the new Marvel multiverse. And I've looked at it. I've been doing a couple videos with it, going through it and such, and it's a good system. I think it's really well put together, and it's very easy to follow and easy to play. And so, just out of curiosity, I was going to do a separate video on this topic as well. Just out of curiosity, I was thinking to myself, how much is this game being represented within the playing space? And so I went on Roll20, and on Roll20, I saw that there were only 3 game masters running Marvel Multiverse RPG, and 2 of them were paid GMs. So one was like $10 per session per player, and the other was like $25 per session per player. And I was like, so this is a fairly brand new game. It should really be well received. It's it's innovative and it's interesting, and should have a lot of people looking to play it. And yet there were only 3 instances of it on Roll20 being run, and much to the detriment of both the game and the hobby. 2 of them Two of the GMs are charging, and it's like, no, I'm not going to pay some nobody, $25 to run a game session. That's crazy, and it's such a disservice to the product, that you're trying to promote, and then you're going to put it behind a paywall. It so these games that are coming out that have that have some buzz around them initially when they first come out, but then are not being supported in the play space. And so that's why I'm talking about some of these games and saying, listen, if you're going to a convention, look to play other games, or look to run other games. And that's something that, I'm certainly planning on doing when I run games at Rising Phoenix Con in April. That's in Massachusetts, where I'm running 5, possibly even 6 totally different systems out there, just to do that kind of a thing. So I think it's important, for those of us that are, really involved with this hobby, especially those of us that are game masters and we're running a lot of different content out there, to really get out in that space and just keep on showing, the different game systems that are out there, and introducing players to these other systems. Let's see. Paramount. I'm not talking about Paramount. You mean Palladium? Palladium, or is it Paramount that? Now I'm confused, because I know Palladium said they weren't going to do PDFs, or at least not at the moment. But does Paramount own Palladium, and is Paramount the one telling them they can't do it? I think I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm confused by your using Paramount instead of Palladium. All right, I'm looking at some other comments here. Yes. Yeah, that's the other thing. The whole design by committee WotC is doing for 6E is going to fail. Yeah, I think so too. I think that I think that what they're doing, because they're trying to walk this silly line of saying, well, this is not a 6th edition. This edition is fully compatible with 5E that you currently own. Then if you say that, then why would anybody buy it? All right, because they already own 5E then, and then if they came out and they said, no, this is in fact a new edition, then those people that are pretty satisfied with 5th edition aren't going to move to the new one, because they're saying, no, I'm not paying this money again. I'm perfectly happy with the system that I have. So they're trying to walk that line between the two things without saying either. And from what I'm told, as far as the play tests and everything, for some of the classes at least, you'd be crazy to play the 2014 version of that class, because they have made it so much more different and powerful in the new one. So they are in fact making something that is not backwards compatible, and yet they don't want to just come out and say, this is a new edition. And it goes back to my comment earlier where, they don't seem to have planned for 2024 with enough time to say, hey, we're going to release something that is a true celebration of Dungeons and Dragons in its 50th year. And here is the 50th. They would have been better off if they just did like a 50th anniversary edition, and had almost like the rules cyclopedia, but for more advanced Dungeons and Dragons moving forward. They could have came out with like a book or a 3-book volume of something like that, and they would have probably made a lot more money doing that. And they would have truly reflected the 50 years of Dungeons and Dragons, but they chose not to even go that route with it as well. I'm not sure what he means by Kevin Feige. Nothing that Kevin Feige is doing right now is making money. Bottom line, it's all falling apart. That's probably because Marvel Multiverse has no meat to it or on it. The dice system is a gimmick. It's very rules light. Well, yes, it's rules light. It's which I think has an appeal to that. So if it's so rules light, then why are I don't see a lot of people looking to play it. And then there's multiverse is how. Yeah, I think the whole multiverse thing is another issue as well. Had to work with Paramount. Okay, so I guess Paramount is the one that's telling them that they. So Paramount is telling them no. So Paramount said no PDFs. Well, then I think they should try to fast track that. Fast track the. Once the Kickstarter's done, if they're not doing as much towards tweaking the rules and such, if they're just doing high quality scans and just refabricating that, then I know they're saying September of 2024, so I guess that's not all that far out. It's less than it's less than 10 months away. So I guess that's a fast turnaround. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I know they own Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I guess I was thinking that it was like some other IPs where certain aspects of the IP can be held by different entities and dealt with in different ways, like the Conan IP. You have various different divisions of, I guess, one big company or one big conglomerate of corporations, in fact, handling different aspects of it. All right, let's continue. No, there isn't. There isn't a there. Like I said, they're toting that line where it's like there's no reason to buy 6E as long as they keep on saying that it's backwards compatible, and then they complain that nobody buys their books, and so they really do need to come out and say, no, this is actually going to be a better, more streamlined system, or this is really a new addition, and then they can go forward with that. But if they're not, yeah, there is no incentive to buy it, and I don't think they care about selling the books. They really don't. They want all of the incentive to be on signing up on D&D Beyond, paying a subscription, and playing on the VTT and doing microtransactions on the VTT. And that, if that becomes the core model for their game system, you are not going to see it at gaming conventions, because what are they going to say at a gaming convention? Oh, make sure you bring your laptop, and it better be a high-end laptop, because it's not going to, my current laptop um, can't run, it could barely run StreamYards, let alone running a fully powered VTT like what they're looking to do with, with their D&D Beyond VTT. Yes, the Power Surge started with Tasha's, and making it less D&D started with Tasha's as well. Getting rid of all those other things. Takato having Chris, Jeremy, and Todd in one video was gay as a $3 bill. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of surprising. I didn't see it, so yeah, but having all three of them on at the same time, they usually don't, because usually it's a lot of times Chris Perkins has to come in and walk back what Jeremy Crawford says. Yes, he is. He has a giant simp. Everything they reveal to him, according to him, is his jam. Yeah, it's they can do no wrong. Well, I mean, they're paying his salary, so it's not like he's independent at all. He's one of their employees. Okay, thank you, Full Metal Dragon. Yeah, and you know what? I think that they will have much more freedom once they see how far, how much how much it's made so far. I know the last time I looked, it was a little over 600,000. It has like 20 something days to go. I wish I had the ability to, share screens and stuff like that. I just can't do that with the iPad. But, you know, could it hit a million? Yes, it could possibly hit a million. At least that's what I think. It might be able to hit a million. Um, but um, but I think they have to do more advertisement for it. I mean, they've done some, they've done some streams with some of us, smaller YouTubers here, but they haven't really gotten out there, and that's why I said they should be running this game at conventions, and and getting people to actually see it in action. They could run these things at Comic Con. It will certainly fit into a Comic Con setting more so than just than just comics. I just spoke to my local comic book store guy, and he was like, yeah, he went to the more recent Comic Con in New York City, and he said there was fewer comics and more like gaming and artists and other things going on there than just comic book vendors. So he said there were a lot of tables to all types of collectible card games and such, and so this game here has so much crossover that you can, Ninja Turtles has so much crossover. You could sell, comic books, you could sell, its toy line, and you can sell the tabletop role playing game as well. Plus video games on top of that. Um, their video games go all the way back to, my gosh, I probably like, you know, Sega, Nintendo, all of those before, and then I know they have the ones for the um, the PlayStation as well, but they go all the way back as far as the console games and everything. And some of those console games were awesome. So every aspect can be found. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles T-shirts, and just talk about a brand that you actually do see in public. Um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is that kind of a brand. Okay. Um, I'm just talking about getting the PDFs out there so people can start running the games. Because right now, although you can get them for fair, like not crazy, costs, you go to eBay, you can get some of the rule books, especially the yellow lettered rule books for probably about 30, $40, which is not astronomical. But the closer they get to, the end of this Kickstarter and everything, then those prices might actually go up. Yeah, no, no, Palladium won't have the current, the electronic licensing. Like I said, that's going to be in a different division of Paramount then. So for 5e fantasy, I am going to use Tales of the Valiant. It looks like a really nice evolution of 5e engine without being too different. Yeah, that was one of the reasons why I bailed on Project Black Flag. I was so disappointed in the fact that they were basically just making a 5e clone. I understand why they did that, but it wasn't what they initially said that they were going to do. So I thought that that was kind of lame, for them. As soon as WotC dropped the OGL and they went with the putting everything into Creative Commons, bang, Project Black Flag lost whatever boldness it was looking to do. We're like, oh, okay, we're just going to make this, we're going to make this into a 5e clone. It's really just a 5e homebrew. um, so let's see. Terry, someone else, electronic games rights to for video game. Digital book is a different medium than yes. And like I said, like Conan has different entities that control different aspects of the IP. And the only one that they don't have is the literature because it's public domain. But everything else, I mean, you could write a Conan the Barbarian short story set in Hyboria, or during the age of Hyboria, and they can't stop you from doing it because it is all public domain, including the character is public domain. So, but what you can't do is you can't make a video game, you can't make a tabletop role-playing game, you can't make a comic book because all of those are owned by different entities. he was there. He was there to stop him from saying anything stupid, yeah, or to quickly correct them. And I guess he did fail, right? Yeah, that's pretty hard to do to stop him from saying something stupid. I'm really hoping that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Kickstarter success will lead to Palladium being able to bring back their Robotech RPG books. Well, didn't they have they had trouble in fulfilling their Robotech Kickstarter and everything? I know that that was something that a lot of people were saying, oh, don't go to it. Don't trust this Kickstarter because they failed to deliver on the Robotech Kickstarter. Now, I don't know what the time frame of that was. Perhaps it was during the time frame, like you were just rolling into COVID or whatever, and so they couldn't pull it off. But it's a different time if they're using different printer or a different place. If they roll with like a print on demand or something, maybe some of those things will disappear. The Kickstarter I'm following is the Reaper Miniatures, Dungeon Dwellers. I'm going to wait a little bit on that one, Ducato. I looked at it too, and I was going to back it, and then I was like, you know what, you know, we're coming up into the holidays, and I just don't have the, I don't have the money to back something else that is kind of on the periphery for me. So um, I actually backed it, and then I, canceled backing it. I will wait until I actually see it being played someplace before I actually look to back it or pick it up after the fact. Okay, so let's see. That was a different company that licensed it from Palladium, but Palladium got stuck with the backlash. Okay, so that I didn't know. So you're filling me on something that I wasn't aware of. So there you have it. I think that some of the backlash against Palladium that at least I was seeing on Twitter and such, especially from this one particular YouTuber, that I think it's more Palladium doesn't buckle to that kind of element in the hobby, and so Palladium's a little bit more based than and they just won't back it. I mean, if you if you look at if you do look at the black titled uh, Ninja Turtles RPG, you'll see why they're probably very much against it um, making a comeback. Now, it's not going to come with those elements in it. Um, that's what was removed from it back during the when they went to the yellow label of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness. Let's see. Oh wait, let's see. Yes, he does. He definitely rides the. I don't even think he rides the. I don't think he rides the fence. I think he leans more towards simping for them um, than uh, than others. I mean, Dungeon Craft just came out with another video that he pretty much slams Wizards of the Coast again. So yeah, so I wouldn't put him in the same category as those, not at all. Um, I mean, Nerd Immersion, Bob the World Builder. I haven't looked at Bob the World Builder in quite some time, and Jenny Diaz, a total waste of time. Um, yeah, I wouldn't put Dungeon Craft in that same category at all. Yes, he is definitely Ducato. He is definitely the most outspoken. Not against them as a company and what they're looking to do, because he fully understands that they're in the they're in the business to make money, and they really don't care about the tabletop role playing community as far as that's concerned. They really don't respect it, they don't understand it, and they don't want to continue backing it. And he points that out clearly in some of his videos. So he said that they're, like I said, I would not put him in the same category as those others. I don't think he's getting any free content from them or you know, free review copies from them, while all the others do. We don't know that yet, as far as no books after the Kickstarter. They haven't said that. They, if they produce well here, then it will show Paramount, I guess, that, hey, wait a second, there is a market for this here. I mean, it's already made 600,000 on the Kickstarter. Um, and it's probably not going to cost anywhere near 1/10 of that to actually produce what they're looking to produce. So, um, yeah, I don't see. I don't see that they're not going to take what it's done so far and take that as a signal that there is an interest in this game moving forward. Yeah, they'll make a lot of money if they put it on drive-through, as far as both the PDFs and print on demand that you could do there as well. Um, that takes all of the shipping and the manufacturer issues out of it as well. I don't know why more don't do that. Yep. Yeah. No, it's once he went to the creators once he went to the creator summit, he came back from that and it was right back on, right back on the bandwagon. Um, yeah, I mean, you could find the old ones, but yeah, but it would be nice. It would be nice for them to move, to that next stage with the thing. I mean, all of those things. Oh, we're worried about piracy. Um, Back when the Trove was out there, I'm sure it was very much like the music industry when they were talking about, I forget what the hell that service was. Um, Someone will remind me what the thing was in music that like Metallica and some others were really against. And when they had that, um, if you enjoyed it, you then went out and bought it. There was very little people. Oh, I'm gonna, Napster. Thank you, El. Napster. It was like they attacked Napster and everything, and some people, in the music industry were like, "Hey, you know what? This got us discovered. We actually, you know, no, it was Napster that I was thinking of, but." They came out and they were like, "Hey, we gained a lot from this," and so that's what gets me as being like just like weird that they wouldn't continue uh, doing that kind of a thing. And I think the Trove was very similar. I mean, I've had game systems that I picked up on the Trove, and then I was like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go buy this now on if it was in print, um, then I would buy it in print, and if it wasn't still in print, then I would at least pick it up on eBay. So there was I don't think piracy is as big as they think it is, as an issue as they thought it was. I think it was still helping to promote and sell product. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was more of an archive than anything. So like I said, um, it's unfortunate that they let the very few short-sighted individuals go out there and attack it. Yeah, yeah. Napster made Apple a trillion-dollar company. Nobody would sell songs for $1 before Napster. Yeah, Yes, and Internet Archive. I like Internet Archive because, I mean, even though it's like flip books and so you could flip through the pages, so you could still show the pages off if you're doing like a review, and yet you can't. At least I've never joined it, so I don't know if by joining it, then you can get like a PDF of something. Um, but the flip throughs work fine for me too. Like, because I'm only looking to show something that I already own, and then I use the flip through or the PDF in order to show the thing off. There's very few game systems that I have that I don't own the physical copy of, but I have the PDF. And that was the point I was trying to make with the Trove, was that a lot of games I saw there, I looked them through, and then I looked to find where I can buy it, hard copy of it. Yeah, but I don't bother because it's like I said, I normally have the hard copy. I'm just looking to use the PDF just to be able to show it to you rather than my drop down camera, which never gets the things like really on there well. So the Wayback Machine is Internet Archive. Yes. Okay. So what are some other games? Like I caught a brief thing of the OGGM's video earlier today, although I didn't catch the whole thing. I don't think he actually announced like the number one, number two, like 1 through 5 most anticipated. I know he mentioned Dagger Heart is one of the most anticipated. And from what I understand, it has a play test now, so you can actually start play testing Daggerheart. That's something, once I reset up my computer, I'll definitely take a look at and see. Maybe do a video this weekend looking over the play test materials for that. Um, an email from Free League that they're issuing the next official adventure, adventure file. They call them case file for Blade Runner, and the first one was phenomenal. So if they keep on running them at that kind of production value, then that's another thing that they really should have done it more. They should have already had the second case file out already, but that's coming out soon. Look at all the things that Troll Lord Games is doing with Gary Gygax and with the Gary Gygax estate, and having permission to start putting back into print so many of the things that Gary wrote for Castles and Crusades and everything. So yeah, I mean, Troll Lord Games is the true banner carrier for Gary Gygax's legacy, and it's good to see that a lot of Gary's world building stuff is actually going to be getting back into print, because um, he was a much better world builder than he was like an adventure module creator, but or a game system designer. His world building is you know very, very hard to compare to his ability of world building. So really looking forward to that. Now, I know he has an event. They're producing the adventure. I think the Kickstarter is going to start in a couple of days, called The Hermit, and so that is a mid-level adventure. So he's definitely going to. They're definitely going to put that out very, very soon. That'll be in Kickstarter. That's a hands down backed. So that's without a doubt. Fighting Fantasy. So we're still on the archives. Yes, I think that Axe will be the biggest long-term game with staying power? That'll be interesting. I certainly backed it, really looking forward to getting it. And I still look at that game as being one that is uniquely domain level play. And I think a lot of, that's going to be, go over very well for that kind of a crowd looking for that kind of thing. You've been playing Dragon Bane campaign, great game. I really enjoy it. Yeah, I I initially had that backed, and then I was like, you know what? The timing of that was kind of bad. I mean, it's I had so many other games coming at that same time that I just had to, I just had to scale back and say, all right, well, I'm doing this instead of that. I think there was like two Castles and Crusades Kickstarters at the same time of that, if I had my timing right. Um, so there was just no way I could, back something else at the same time. Yes, Acts 2 does look very, very good. I have a draft copy of the PDF that Alexander shared with me to take a look at. So that before my interview with him and everything, and so I was like, "Hey, this looks really cool." It is much, much larger than the original, so you're getting a lot more rules involved with it too. So that's very exciting as well. So let's see, Acts 2 killed 98% of the OSR for me. The only OSR survivors are Hyperborea and Kevin Crawford's books. Um, is that a good thing? I'm not sure. Oh, I see. So it's Acts and then those two games as well. Hyperborea is awesome. Um, I haven't had a chance to run it yet, but Hyperborea is definitely an awesome system, and Kevin Crawford's books are so highly acclaimed, and I use those for just pulling ideas from those as well. And so yeah, um, yeah. Now I look for game systems that do different things. Um, I mean, I'm still running my AD&D first edition campaign, and my players just don't want to let it go. And I really don't want to let it go either. So we're just about wrapping up our campaign. We'll probably have like one more session in that campaign, and then I'm gonna transition those characters. We'll probably take like a week off, and then I'm going to transition those characters into the next series of their adventuring, which I can anticipate will go another couple months at least for the next series of adventures that I'm looking to incorporate, and so that will start pushing us towards the uh, almost 3-year mark with that particular campaign. So. And then we'll see. I mean, I could take that in several different directions that will move us into potentially even another 2 years of gameplay. But we'll see. We'll see how long that lasts, because I have to keep on putting off my Castles and Crusades. I can't do both. And one of my players is looking to start up a Traveler campaign, which I'm like, oh, definitely want to be in on that. Okay, so the Dungeon Delver is doing some good deep dives of first edition. Can't wait for more of my second edition. Yeah, I will. I will have to make a return to doing some videos on second edition. Not having my main computer took me out for about a week, and then I just started doing some videos covering the new Conan comic book, new Conan the Barbarian comic books from Heroic Signatures and Titan Comics, and I'm really enjoying those. And I will definitely do the second review in which the author actually came on my channel and was like, "Hey, I'm glad you really like this stuff," and then we exchanged a couple chats on Twitter as well. So I told him, yeah, the next one is coming very, very soon, as soon as I get my computer up, and looking forward to that. But that series, he's definitely doing a very good job, better than what Marvel did more recently with truly capturing Conan in there. I would love to see some more tabletop role playing game material from Conan. Um, I wish Modiphius still had the license for it, because their system is probably my favorite, um, for Conan. But we'll see. We'll see what Heroic Signatures does with the tabletop role playing game IP of Conan. You're 26 sessions into your campaign, no end in sight. Yeah, yeah, it's amazing. It's both it's both awesome, and it's a little bit nerve-wracking, because it's like, wow, it's like we're coming we're coming to the close of a campaign that this is my longest running campaign as a dungeon master for AD&D First Edition. Back in the day, back in the 80s, I was a player all of that time, and I might have ran a few adventures here and there, very specific adventures here and there. But this has been by my own design. And even if I did take, like, I took like B1 and B2, that's what I launched them with, was B1 and B2. But I basically just used the maps for the most part. And so all of the story and all of the underlying, moving parts of the world and everything have all been mine. And so that's the daunting part of it, is like, how do I keep that going, with the same group of people now for over 2 years, and keep everybody's interest level still very high as it has been. And I guess the fact that they said, we want to continue going on. And I was like, okay, so now I have to get that next element, and hopefully get that next spark involved, and both for me and for them, have like another long lasting campaign that is just as good as the last one. So cool stuff. But yeah, so congrats on the 26. That's long. So that's you're coming up on 5 times longer than the average Wizards of the Coast 5th edition campaign length. Is he really? That's cool. I've been asking Troll Lord Games, um, if, since it is public domain, why they don't do like a source book for Castles and Crusades and the Hyborian Age. They could certainly do it, and they have the staff to do something that's very like historical look at it. So they would certainly do that as well. And even Jason Bay worked on Conan 2D20. So they already have a staff member that worked on that system. All the parts of Conan that are in the public domain. Yeah. Yeah. As I said earlier on, it's um, you could do a lot. Virtually everything in Conan in literature is public domain, including Conan. You can write a piece of literature. You can't. So you could do a source book for it, but you can't make an independent role-playing game for it without going through their licensing. Yes, yes, it's part of the Kickstarter, the Chuck Dixon Conan. So he's taking Chuck Dixon's Conan from the comic book and incorporating that. Okay. So we have Axe that we're talking about. We had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles we're talking about. I will posit out there that if Free League really does push out, some more content for some of its other titles, I can see those doing very well in 2024. Shadow Dark should be coming to us physically this month, I'm assuming. If not this month, early December, I'm hoping. It would be nice to have it before next year's convention season so that I can actually run it at some places. Even though you have the PDF, I mean, for me, I don't like to run something without the physical copy with me. I haven't heard anything about like Goodman Games and what they're putting out there for like DCC. Any additional information on that? I haven't seen anything or heard anything coming from that. Axe 2, I think, is going to be big next year, and we'll see. I'm waiting to see how much play that gets at conventions. That's become like my new measure of how well something is doing. Free League seems to be good about supporting their games. They already have more Dragon Bane material coming. Yeah. Dragon Slayer will probably fizzle. Yeah, I don't know if Greg Gillespie is I mean, he's highly respected. He's a great designer. I don't know. I almost backed it. I initially backed it, and then again, I was like another, like, what was that, like 175 I was looking at. I was like, I just can't at the same time. I had like 4 Kickstarters that I was looking to back at that same time, and I basically dropped it for Ninja Turtles. To be honest, it was like I can't. I backed what is it, Mystic Days. And they were on my channel twice, and I enjoyed our conversation. So I was like, I'm backing. I backed their game. I just had too much going at the same time. I'm still waiting for my reward from Drive-Thru that I got as a backer. One of the mega dungeons. Not sure. Well, hold up, shipping. Okay. So anyway, I am looking to see if I missed anything else. No. So hey, I know, Takata, we were talking a little bit earlier. I wanted to back Mystic Days, but yeah. Mystic Days, the good thing about Mystic Days is that it's a totally different system. And so I'm really excited. Like, I have the PDFs already, and I'm going to start looking through those and everything. And I'll start talking about that system once I get past all of the other stuff I'm trying to do at the same time. And, so it looks like it's an interesting system. It's at least a very, very different system. And that's what I'm most excited about. Takata was just like a mid-sentence, and I shifted gears. So that convention, that one, if you want to talk on Discord about it, that convention is all up and ready for game submissions, and I'll let you know what I'm running there if you're still looking to go to that one in Massachusetts in April. So let's see, backing both TMT and Axe. Yeah, I did the same thing, and that's it. I was pretty much done with that. Yeah, So yeah, so that one is up. It's up there already. So it's Rising Phoenix Con. It's April. It's April 15th, 16th, and 17th. It's awesome because it goes right into my spring break. So I'm like, I just have to take off the Thursday night. I'm off Fridays normally, so I'm just losing one day, and I'm gonna go out there the Thursday. It actually starts. No, are they running one game Thursday night? I think I'm running a game Thursday night, so that's the first night I'm going, and I'm running one that night. So I'll be that I'll be running 6 game systems, maybe 5, and I'll save my Sunday morning for a nice breakfast and a drive home. But yep, I will definitely touch bases with you and give you some info on it. Yeah, I was in mid-sentence there. Yes, I backed both TMT and Axe 2, which is what took the other games off my list because I was like, it's just too much at one time. Hey King, how's it going? It's been a while. Um, yeah, GURPS 4, I haven't looked into it. I picked up my old copy of GURPS, so it was like which is like second or third edition, which is back in the day when I played it. Um, I haven't looked at it's like the possibilities are endless in that RPG. Yeah, it's any of those generic ones, you can do anything with them. Um, I liked GURPS back in the day. I don't know how much, if it's still like a D100 system, classless and, all skill based and everything like that. I'm not a huge fan anymore of the D100 system. It's just not, um, there's just not anything to like that innovative for me with it. But I'll definitely take a look at it and I'll see what I can do with it. Especially if it's not too expensive, then I can. Oh, it uses 3D6. So just 3D6 system now. All right. I remember GURPS was D100. At least I recall it being D100 back then. So all right, cool. I'll take a look at it, and I'll see. I have. Now I know there's a GURPS Traveler, right? Um, which I never take a look at. I just recently picked up the Mongoose Traveler, the most recent edition of it. But we are going to be playing. We're going to be playing the original Traveler with some Mega Traveler mixed in with it. So, looking at that as well. All right, everybody. I'm gonna probably wrap this up now, so I can spend some time putting my computer back together again and rehooking all of that up. But I really appreciate you dropping in, and hopefully I'll be back to regular videos with my computer now repaired. It's fan repaired. Let's see. The problem with GURPS is that the rules are splattered around a 100 book, 100 books. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. They better have it in one book, otherwise I'm not going with it. I'm a big fan of all you need is one core book, like Mifrog and other games like that, King, where you have everything in just one book and you're good to go with that. So all right, guys, you all have a great night, and I will be back. I'll be back online tomorrow, at some time doing some videos. So you have a good one. Thanks everyone for dropping in, and keep your eyes out there for some really cool games coming up in 2024. There seems to be a good selection of stuff for us to all get a look at. Geez, I'm still waiting for Mothership. Holy shit, that game is taking forever to be fulfilled. But anyway, have a great one, everyone. Take care.